chinsewa tuji zishi lama chinse cheno lama chinse de cheno chinla terchen tanya lama jambal de cheno chogu talo ningi kolor namsam kanki chakdans ngesem tachi kambe meba tagyun kambe suzuchi jase tu namtar sabjin jache tala nyerzul yapjing nyele lashin tala rewa machi kalngem ta minsen kundu jamyan kube samjin chiji tukji shukchungse menya menya surnge rangi nyebe lepese tadong kyunyem majol tado japshen so varma joroji ujin yujin nobjang tsampe ma kesara tongbola yanzi choge ngodumge pema chunge shisuta kordo kandro mangbe kor cheji jisu tar dupji shinji lopcher sheksu so guru pema sede hum kusum lama soje doji tala chokto mungje ngodup zaldo so ujin rinpoche la zoat nem kajen parche mejun shi tunchen samba drupa dan chokto tumu ngodup zaldo so yeah, last touch delay. So I'm so happy that you decided to spend your time, precious time, your evening listening about the 12 links of dependent origination. That's impressive. This really is. When we were deciding on these topics, I kind of knew what we were doing. Talking about karma, talking about 12 links of dependent origination. These are, although the very bone and marrow of Buddha Dharma, but not necessarily exciting sometimes. Or the way they're presented, many times it's with a lot of established terminologies, like even this page that you may have, and it has the 12 links. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
Have to keep it close to the microphone. I know, sorry.
All right, how about this?
That's better.
Okay.
Very nice.
Well, this is a Dharma gathering. I suppose there's almost nothing worldly to gain from this, except speaker and listeners alike. We should, our prime motivation should be for transformation of our mind, transformation of our perception. Teachings of Buddha, like this kind of 12 links dependent origination, when he taught these, thousands and thousands of beings, hundreds of thousands of beings saw the truth, attained awakening. And so these enumerations, these kind of teachings, it's not coming out of someone's intellect, that an intelligent person sat somewhere and kind of tried to decipher our existence and came up with these 12 numbers, but coming directly from the wisdom of Buddha. And the only intention of the fully awakened one is to awaken us. And so in the past and in the present, the teaching of dependent origination have liberated so many minds, countless of minds. And so our teacher instructs, this is the instructions of our teachers, that no matter what you do, even if you offer one butter lamp or even if you make one prostration, everything has to go towards transforming your mind. Matter of fact, initially when people begin to come to Buddha, so many became monastics, monks. There was no rule. There was no real rules. All he said is, do not accumulate negative karma, always accumulate, always do what is right, or always accumulate virtuous karma. Tame your mind. This is the teaching of the Buddha. That was the Vinaya. There was nothing else. And so you can see that his sole intention is not to, not for our long life, not for our, for us to have a wealthy or a successful existence, but for us to really see what's happening, and not only that we see what's happening, but also offering us a path that he himself has practiced and had practiced and benefited from. So that kind of motivation is needed. Of course, that's those who are on the Mahayana path, then our motivation should be for the sake of the liberation of all sentient beings. I must attain full awakening. I must become exactly like Siddhartha Gautama, Tara, Manjushri, Padmasambhava. All of these representation of awakening here. And so, for that purpose, this gathering, for example, today we're going to talk about dependent origination, and on top of that, the 12 links of dependent origination, and then that we enter such a noble Dharma with perfect hearing, contemplation, and meditation. The subject is really vast. Dependent origination. It's it is also very much connected to the topic of our first evening. What is karma? So before we go into this, as always, I would like to request you to try and sit straight and bring Shakyamuni Siddhartha Gautama to your mind. In front of you, seated under the Bodhi tree, with his right hand touching the ground and left hand in meditation, and his gaze fixed upon you. The time is that of dawn. This visualization is remembering the time when Siddhartha Gautama attained full awakening. Buddha said in so many words and in so many different ways that of all kinds of visualizations and meditation, For a bodhisattva, visualizing this is supreme, is of highest merit, and so we remember Siddhartha Gautama, the source of our lineage, fully awakened one who is without any attachment, greed, one who is without any aggression, who was fully awakened, who was without he was completely free of all dualistic conceptions. A fully awakened being in front of you, in front of each one of us. Our teachers, they suggest that most important is when you visualize like this is remembering his life, his teachings, his selfless activities, his wisdom, his strength, his fearlessness. That's an important aspect of an awakened being, to be fearless. In the sutras they say Buddha is fearless because he has no hypocrisy. There is no hypocrisy. Buddha is fearless because he has nothing to hide. Masangwa mepa, nothing to hide. And that's, what a freedom. What a freedom when you have nothing to hide from nobody. That is awakening. That's true freedom. So we remember this kind of teacher, and we yearn to see such a teacher, meet such a teacher. Please. Thank you. Mahayana, the path we are supposed to be on, is a path of courageous ones, those who have undying optimism, always hoping, maybe this will help, maybe that will help, maybe this will work. Mahayana path is so vast and profound. When you enter this path, you should really trust the path. Some of you have taken refuge. Some of you have bodhicitta, to believe that this is the same refuge that have liberated all these beings. This is the same bodhicitta that I have. Is the exact same bodhicitta that at some point Siddhartha Gautama had, or Manjushri had, Avalokiteshvara, all these awakened beings that now seem almost mythical, almost qualities of these beings. One of my teachers, during the Cultural Revolution in Tibet. He was imprisoned because, teaching Dharma was akin to lying to the populace, keeping them chained in superstition and so on. So he was imprisoned for 21 years. And something he tells us that's almost unbelievable is he never once got angry. His only worry or fear was, am I going to lose my compassion to my captors, towards my captors? What not captors? What is it? What do you call it? Captors? All right, captors. The prison guards. That is Mahayana. Not doing some miracles. No, he's just his presence. When we would be in front of this being, it would make us courageous, make us believe, yes, that's very possible. Mahayana really, first of all, anything becomes a path, whether you're happy, whether you're unhappy. The Mahayana teachers will say, if you're unhappy, they will say, perfect, all of my negative karma is getting purified. And may all the negative karma of all beings fall upon this, whatever, may this be enough, like a substitute, may this be enough now. And may they're like that. Or when a Mahayana practitioner suffers immense loss, they will look at others and pray, may they never go through this, like that. Anyway, so many. Mahayana is so skillful. Similarly, of course, if you're happy, that's definitely, you're happy, you're capable. Mentally, physically, you can do things, you can do so much. So many things we can do so easily. I just found out that you go to these shops and you can buy earthworm. I don't know, maybe $5, $10. You get 20, 30 of them. And you just set them free. So easy. How difficult is that? Once in a while. You don't have to do it every day. Once in a while. That is Mahayana. Mahayana teaches you that you have so much power. You have so much strength, and your mind creates everything. Your mind dictates everything. As Buddha says, mind is what burns as fire. Mind is what flows as water and blows as the wind and so on. And so many sutras, again and again and again. Mahayana is like that. So when you were visualizing Buddha, if you were thinking, about some guy who's no longer there, then that doesn't really become Mahayana. That becomes ordinary, what we call ordinary perception. Ordinary perception means whatever you see, hear, smell, touch, that you have 100% believe in that and that only. You cannot go beyond that. Whereas if you look into the sutras, or even the definition of Buddha, an awakened one is free of the cycle, these 12 links. Birth and death is one of the link of this cycle. And a fully awakened being is completely free of that. So, for Mahayana practitioners, Buddha has gone beyond time. One of the quality of the wisdom of bodhisattvas and Buddhas is tisum timet tokpa, to realize that 3 times has no time, that the 3 times is mere label given to experience of ordinary beings, whereas the fully awakened one is beyond that. And so sometimes people would look at Buddha, really, this is in the sutra, they would just look at Buddha and they think, he's been talking for 1 evening. That's what they think. Some monks think Buddha has been speaking for 1 evening. Whereas the listeners who were bodhisattvas, they experienced 1 aeon. It wasn't an evening, 1 aeon. Mahayana has no trust in time, concepts such as time, distance. I want to say this because this kind of teaching here right now, it's quite fundamental. This is exactly how the Sravaka traditions will teach, our friends from Sri Lanka and Burma and so on. They're very practical, straightforward sometimes. Don't have the flares and colors of Mahayana. I don't want you to feel like, oh gosh, it's not that. Mahayana will still say the same things, but with Mahayana attitude. Well, dependent origination. Dependent origination. Before we talk about the 12 links, first we maybe discuss a little bit about what dependent origination is. And I'm sure you have heard this a lot. Dharma is like that. Dharma is, you have to hear it, contemplate on it, and meditate on it until you see it without any conceptual, without any reference, without, you see it directly. And one can only hope that one of these days, maybe you're reading about it, listening about it, or talking about it, it will happen. A profound, irreversible change will happen within you, within us. So, I don't know about the religious tradition outside of India and how did they begin, what were there, what kind of social sort of psyche, what kind of search they were upon. But Indians, they were about the truth. They were looking for truth. If you look into the Indian school, like Sakya, Charvaka, Buddhist, Jains, it's all about what is the reality. Indians already understood many thousands of years ago that whatever you see, that's not trustworthy. They understood that the same thing is experienced in hundreds of different ways by hundreds of different people. Which one is the truth of that thing? They understood it's not trustworthy. Like looking at a mirror. And when you look at a mirror, if 10 people look at a giant mirror from 10 directions, they all have their perceptions. So they understood that part. Now came the explanation. What is really happening then? What is the truth? So then you have all kinds of traditions. Indian traditions, Buddhist, non-Buddhist traditions, is all about in search of the ultimate truth, Param Satya. So most of these Indian religious traditions, they have similar language about Satya, which is the truth, Param, the ultimate truth. What is the ultimate truth? What is really going on? That's what it means. Sorry. What is the real cause of things. Why are things happening the way they do, what they are? So you have all kinds of explanations. Some say it is time. Time is the what do you call it? The ultimate. Time decides everything. Time decides when fruits will ripen. Time decides when it will. Really, that time decides when you're born, when you die. Nothing will happen before time. Nothing happens after time. It's always time. So then they have this vague idea, not vague, but what do you call it? Abstract phenomena called time. Very similar to how we understand time. Sometimes we may think that time is like a shared experience. Not at all. Not at all. If you really watch in the same room, some of you are so bored right now. Each minute is so slow. Your buttocks are sort of in pain, and you just. Some of you may be enjoying it, and so time is fast. Already 6:42.
We're in the same place in time.
Yeah, see. But this is the teaching of Buddha, is that it's completely relative. Then there were those who say it is created by a being, like a god, a goddess. That's kind of similar to the rest of the religions. Anyway, then it was Siddhartha Gautama. He said, all things are dependently originating. That just caused so much. It was an outrageous thing to say. Dependently originating means you do not have your own nature, and so you exist because of gatherings of many things. You exist because of a mind that is looking at you. You exist, because of cause and effect. Dependent originating. So in India, in those days, in search of truth, they understood if it is true, it should not change. That was the first rule. After sort of contemplating for years and years and lifetimes, they understood that if it is true, it shouldn't change. It is true. You cannot trust someone who keeps changing their story. If it is true, it should not change. If it is truly existing now, if any phenomena, whatever, the creator or the created phenomena, whatever it is, if it's true, it should not change. Takpa, if it is true, then it also should not depend on others to exist. You are the ultimate truth. Anyway, that which does not change also does not depend on others. I am torn right now. Should I, between not sounding too scholastic, but also I don't want to water it down. So that. Anyway, so then Siddhartha Gautama, he said, all phenomena come from their own causes and condition, or all compounded things are impermanent, and these statements changed the way these Indians understood things. And it was not a creation of Buddha even. Buddha did not create this truth. He merely observed. And so everything Buddha says, if you just remove the name Buddha and if you just tell them it's from a textbook or something, it's believable. Change, cause and effect, being dependently originating. Now, dependent origination, you can kind of say there are two types. one that depends on causes and conditions, and one that depends on mind and mental interpretation. All the things that are labeled, all the labels are not coming from cause and effect, but dependent on mind. Simple idea like a forest. What is a forest? But the moment I say forest, you see something vague in your head. Forest. Which one? All of it. Just something vague. So that's similarly a tree. When I say a tree is important, we should protect trees like that. A tree, immediately in your head you have something green, something. It's not apple tree per se or anything specific. It's just a tree. And so all of it, like a table, a person, a man, a woman, a child, a house, a city, even concepts such as good, bad, past, present, future, near, far, samsara, nirvana, all labels. Basically, anything that is labeled is dependent origination that not even comes from cause and condition, meaning it doesn't even exist in an ordinary world. It's just like it all exists here. Now, the dependent origination that we are talking about is that coming from cause and effect, causes and conditions. Meaning that which can be seen or touched, tasted, smelled, heard, basically object of our faculties, 5 faculties, organs. That it's not, for example, this. Now, what is this? You say is mala and this and that. That's all abstract ideas. Yet the material can be touched. You can touch it. And this is made of wood. It can have no beginning. It's come from a piece of wood, maybe, and then that comes from a tree, that comes from a sapling and a seed. The seed comes from a previous tree, and like this. At the beginning of this world, the material that makes my mala here, our malas, has to be there. And that can also not be a sudden beginning also. That has to come from a previous phenomena, or destruction of a previous world. That is dependent origination of cause and effect. Cause and effect. Smokes from fire, seedlings from seed, flowers from plants, fruits from trees, children from parents. Dependent origination of cause and effect. Today from yesterday, yesterday from day before. Now, again, Buddha taught that which is dependently originating is empty in nature. That which is coming from causes and conditions has no true nature. As Nagarjuna says, whatever that comes from causes and conditions has no birth. It doesn't mean it does not exist. What it means is it is inexplicable. Inexplicable. We cannot explore this so much due to time, but to just to give a taste of it. And I'm sure you have your own teachers. But this is something it's really worthwhile knowing. It for me, when I was 17, I became a monk, and was in a monastery. After some months, I walked into an abbot's room. He was preparing for his class. He was skillful. He didn't say emptiness. What he said to me was, he said, "Rinpoche, this guy is saying strange things." And I asked him, what is he saying? He said, he's saying that there is no coming, no going. There is no walking. There is no touching. And it was, for very simple fact, he said, for a walking to exist, someone to walk, the feet has to touch the ground, isn't it? He said. And I said, yeah, of course. Everybody is silly, of course. And he said, for that to happen, the feet touching the ground, shouldn't there be a time when it hasn't touched, time when it is touching, but is not in the past tense, touched, and time is already touching is already happened, past, present, future. And I said, that makes sense. And so he basically did that. This would be the path. This is your feet. And he said, is it touching? I said, no. Is the touching happening? No. Had already touched? Of course not. And he went as close as he could. I could see. I really did that. With his hands. If someone else would have seen us, they would say, what are they doing? But it was just him and me. And then the moment it touched. And however, I think it was either before touching has happened or touching has already happened. It is touched. I couldn't find a time when the touching is happening yet it is not finished. And at that time the conch blew for the puja. I was walking with each step, climbing the stairs. This shouldn't happen. Yet this is happening. So that is what emptiness means. Emptiness does not mean it doesn't exist. But emptiness means when you rationally think about it, it shouldn't exist. When you think about it carefully, nothing should exist. Yet it does. Yet you experience it. Yet things are there. And that is always together. The illusoriness of things and their appearance that follows strict causes and conditions. Let's say the ground is laid. Now, last time when we were talking about karma is also inner dependent origination. Karma does not impact directly the outer world. Karma has to do with the inner world. The external world is rational, logical. You can reason. It is predictable. Whereas our mind is not predictable at all. Mind has its own way of doing things. And so that is karma. Good karma, bad karma, beyond karma, or neutral. All of this has to do with mind. Today is also talking about inner dependent origin. External dependent origination meaning the existence of external phenomena. Our bodies, table, the fan and so on. So this is something external to us. Now inner dependent origination is then talking about our emotions, our cravings, our happiness, and joy, and sadness, and discouragement, disappointments, all this is inner dependent origination. There exist so many different ways of exploring this, and one of it, which is quite fundamental and classic, and is this. Questions such as, why is there a life after death? How does karma function? How does karma bring about a rebirth? If you can, I would suggest reading sutra called the Rice Seedling Sutra. Rice Seedling Sutra is interesting. It is one day Buddha had a rice seedling in his hand. You know, rice seedling, meaning it's just a shoot coming out of the seed. It's not a proper plant right now. It's not a rice. It's just a shoot. So Buddha had that in his hand, and he said, monks, he was looking at the seedling. While looking at the seedling, he said, monks, those who see dependent origination sees the Dharma. Those who sees the Dharma sees the Buddha. Sees the Buddha. And so he became quiet. And then one of his students, one of the main disciple of Buddha, thought, what does he mean? Why did he have a rice seedling in his hand? And what does that mean? Seeing dependent origination is seeing the Dharma is seeing the Buddha. And so he went in search of the most closest or trusted student of Buddha, Maitreya. Maitreya was just walking back and forth, and he met Maitreya. And he had such his burning question that they couldn't even go to the monastery, or they just sat right there on a flat rock. And he asked Maitreya, what does Buddha mean? And then Maitreya gives answer. So that is the sutra, Rice Seedling Sutra. It is translated, freely available. There you have a better understanding, the larger picture of outer and inner dependent origination. Here I'm just going to talk about this. Now, you have ignorance, formation, consciousness, name and form, the 6 ayatanas: contact, sensation, craving, grasping, becoming, birth, rebirth, rebirth, and old age and death. Because the question is raised, if we are not created by someone for a purpose, or if we are not created by something like time or prakriti, and we are also not by chance. There were schools in India who believed that everything happens randomly, there's no real order. They say things like, who painted the feathers of peacocks? Nobody. Who made sure that the peas would be round and smooth? Nobody. They say it's just by chance. So you're alive by chance, and you'll die, and that's the end of you. And so Siddhartha Gautama, when he says, we do come from causes and conditions, but not from one cause and condition. We all have our own different causes and conditions. And so we also do not happen by chance. But also our existence has no purpose too. Nobody creates us. Oh, I'm going to make these people so that they will do this. Nothing. It's just not like that too. So avoiding all this extreme, he saw in his wisdom that this is the middle way. The reality is always the middle way. Anything else is the extreme. And so he said, ignorance is the creator. The first one is ignorance. kind of makes sense if you just let down all the distractions and think, where did I come from? What is my beginning? We don't remember. We just don't remember. Where did I come from? We don't even remember being born. We don't even remember what happened last month. Forget about what is there. Was I there before this life? Forget about all that. Even this life. Ignorance. Whether it is forgetting, whether it's not knowing, whatever you call it, ignorance. Now, we have something extra. It's not that we don't know reality, and that's it. Not at all. We don't know the reality, and on top of that, we have ideas about what is real, and that becomes an issue. And so, okay, making it very, very short here is just self-grasping. This ignorance is self-grasping, the idea of self. This is what Buddha saw. Regardless of who you are, where you are, doesn't matter where you come from, whatever language you may speak, we all seem to have this from our birth. Nobody has to be taught you exist. Like you are as no one has to be taught. And so that was sort of a proof for Siddhartha that because why is this happening? It just cannot be like out of no reason. There has to be a reason. And he thought that's because it is habit, he said. Habit. No one has to be taught. We all have this grasping. And so if there was a past life, surely, just as in this life, we are born with it. Everyone born. Think about that. If there would be something that's common to all 8 billion, I don't know, maybe 8 billion, more than that now. 9 billion humans. We're just talking about humans. We're not even talking about animals and other insects and so on. You might begin to wonder why. Why do we all think exactly in the same way? So for Buddha, this was clear. He saw these are all suffering. we all suffer. And he said, what is the common thing between all of these? This idea of self. Not our food, not the way we think or way we talk or way we do things. But one thing that was common in all of us was that we all think that, in these terms of me. And so he called it sosokyo. Sosokyo means individual being who separate themselves from others. You are you, me, I am me, that's sosokyo. Then that's self-grasping. So when you have self-grasping, then you have something automatically. Again, he noticed, no one in this world is without self-preference. It could be that we all have self-grasping for whatever reason. But then why must we all have self-preference, that we always prefer our sort of my happiness, my family, my country? Everything is seen in this. The clues are just too, undeniable. Remember that we're talking about a milk thief in Santa Fe? Yeah. Okay, some of you were not there. Mm-hmm. If every day milk, people keep losing their milk from their fridge. Someone is stealing milk every day from every family. Today here, tomorrow there. And always, 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 whenever there is a theft, milk theft, one guy is always there. We use the example of Willie. Willie is always there. Once could be coincidence, twice could be every time but there's a theft, he's there. So he is the thief. There's not a lot of stretch there. There's not a lot of, and when he's not there, there's no stealing going on. Once in a while he goes on holidays out of Santa Fe, no milk gets stolen. When yogi destroys self-grasping, they don't seem to suffer. No suffering. That, really taking holiday. That's what it is. So, self-grasping. Then from self-grasping, it just doesn't, it's not that you have the idea of self and then you do not do anything. You do a lot of things. You have then feelings, emotions. And based on that, you accumulate karma. This formation is basically karma, doing something. You want to say something, and so you say it. Verbal, not verbal, what do you call karma of speech. You want to, something you don't like makes you angry, mental karma. Then you actually do things, physical karma. This formation is that. Formation means karma. Then is consciousness. Where is the karma? Karma after being accumulated, does it just vanish? Where does it go? Where does it? So, for now, we can say karma leaves its imprint, its seed upon the consciousness, because it is the consciousness that seems to continue. Okay, that consciousness. Then, consciousness is not alone. It is with name and form. Mintang zuk. Name here refers to other mental phenomena like perception, devotion, meditation, whatever mental. That's name, and form is form. We'll try to make it easier. Don't worry. 6 ayatanas. Then is 6 ayatanas. Ayatana mean doors. 6 doors. Eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body. These are, like mind. These are 6 doors. When eyes do not function, colors cannot enter your existence. No color. When a body does not function, say for whatever reason, your skin does not function, you cannot experience things, then shape has no way of entering to your mind. So ayatanas mean doors, basically. 6 ayatanas is the 6 faculties. How do they know things? Because they get in contact with things. Getting in contact with things, just like touching my form, which is one of the ayatanas, my body, skin basically, gets in contact with this. And so that contact, my eye faculty gets in contact with the form, meaning there is a light, there's nothing blocking, so it means it's getting in contact, so that, and then I see it. After that is sensation. What kind of sensation? Good, bad, soft, not soft, sweet, sour, all that. Then, based on the sensation you crave, is craving. This is basically Buddha looking at us and naming all of our things, what we are made of. This is what we are made of. It looks weird, but actually it's just happening all the time. It's right now. Craving. When you crave, then you grasp. Sepa, lempa. Grasping is then try to get it. You try to get it now, or let's say this craving can also be understood as you do not like something. Then you crave to get rid of it, and then you grasp upon what is opposite of it. Then the becoming. Becoming is sipa. Becoming is the karma now ready to give fruit. That's becoming. Karma is ready, sipa. The real name of becoming, the Sanskrit name is samsara, becoming, sipa. Then is birth. From that birth, and then old age and death. Okay, that was just simple explanation of each term. What does that mean to us now? What does that mean for us? How does that explain my existence, my past and future? First of all, it is to understand that this 12th link just one cycle of this 12th link is not our whole life. Every day, out of ignorance, we accumulate karma. And so, every day you start this cycle, hundreds, maybe, I don't know, hundreds, but many cycle of karma. So, every one life has the possibility of bringing hundreds, thousands of future lives. So, the purpose of teaching this, one of first immediate purpose is to have a sense of tiredness. Okay, let's make it simple now. Okay, I believe you guys. Ignorance, first, ignorance. I am ignorant. Right now, I'm ignorant of so many ignorance. Most importantly, I have this grasping of a self, which I don't know why do I have it. Why do I have self-grasping? But I have it, and I believe it 100%, never question it. That's ignorance. Out of ignorance, okay, let's talk about the bad karma. Out of ignorance, I have strong anger and I kill a wasp with strong anger. Why is this bothering me when I'm trying to have a good time? It bit my daughter. It actually did last month. So much anger. It's not the same wasp. It's different continent, but I am angry. What does it matter? I take revenge. Now, out of ignorance, formation. These two. Which is karma. Formation is karma. That's done. Now, just because I have accumulated karma doesn't mean it will give result right now. I accumulate karma every day. They might give result after one day, after thousands of years. You never know. So, this karma now, with strong anger, I kill another being. Now, then I live for 20, 30, 40, however long I live. Around the end of my life, let's say that strong negative karma, with hatred I kill, I'm going to be reborn in like a hell realm, one of the hell realms. Around the end of my life, I begin hearing things. I begin seeing things. Maybe real, maybe not real. What does it matter? And most importantly, I'm so cold. And I want fire. Or if I'm going to hungry ghosts, just I have this sense of loss and I want things, I want to hold on to things. That is number 8 now. Craving. Wait, don't worry, you might think what's happened to 3 to 7, it's coming. But this is the easiest way of understanding it. The previous one, when you go one by one, unless you meditate, you're a meditator, it doesn't. But just to understand, like this is better. So, craving, I crave. So here, with ignorance, I killed, right? Ignorance and formation. I have the karma with me. At the time of my death, because this karma is going to push me to like one of those like burning hell or whatever that place is. So at the time of my death, I just very, very cold. And I have this idea, like fire. That's the thing. I want fire. Craving. And then grasping, lempa, 9th. I ask for it. Can you please burn fire around more? It's just not enough. Lempa. Now, what it is happening is that this karma is trying to push through, and finally, it got what it needed. Conditions. Just a apple seed cannot bring tree. You need soil and water and all that. Similarly, mere karma cannot bring result. If I have the karma to be stabbed, for example, but if I never get out of my house, don't let anybody in, I will not be stabbed in this life. That karma to be stabbed will remain within me, but it doesn't have the condition anymore right now. All of us have the karma to be awakened. But right now the condition is not complete. So the karma just remains. Every day, today we're talking about these things. We're accumulating more karma of awakening. But it cannot give result right now. It doesn't have the conditions. But here it is. So, grasping is happening now. I tell people, more blanket, this and that, whatever. Then now, around the time I'm dying, the next life is fixed now. The karma is just ready. Like water boiling, no goat walking over it. This is what our teacher says. I don't know why he loves saying these things. And there is the egg inside. And he says it's bound to boil. Even if you pray, please do not boil. It will boil. No, cook, sorry. It will be cooked. You don't boil eggs, right?
If you want. Yes.
That's weird. But, all right. That's what is becoming is guaranteed. Unless like somebody topples over the pot now and then it's half cooked. Vaishya, or else it's going to be coming. Then, now you die. Now I die from here. And then there is rebirth. Rebirth with consciousness, name and form, 6 ayatanas, contact, sensation, all complete in my body. And then death. That's one way of understanding. Another way, again, if we use another example, let's say I have the karma to be born as an animal. Let's say ignorance, I accumulate karma, and with a strong emotion, that is. And then at the time of my death, there is craving that supports that karma. And I try to get whatever, or try to get rid of whatever I don't want. There's grasping. And then becoming. No, you're dying and your next life is kind of fixed. That's where you're going. So then comes the third, consciousness. Consciousness is the first contact of your consciousness and the seed of your parents. it's not a thought. There is no thought. It doesn't feel anything. It doesn't see anything. There is no eyes. There is no nose. But there is an awareness of it. Now, a meditator at that time can use that moment to liberate themselves. But most of us are not that. So, that's the first moment. The first moment when you enter your mother's womb, let's say. That's called consciousness. Because there's nothing there. Then name and form, meaning slowly the seeds from your parent, and also since there is a consciousness, it begins to become like, from the sutras, there's like a yogurt like in the sutra says, and slowly it begins to take shape, sort of like a lump of meat, let's say, like a lump basically. That's called name and form. Name and form, here the form refers to just that, whatever that lump. It's not really a body right now. It doesn't function as a body. That name refers to the mind at that time. Then slowly the fetus begin to have sort of eyes, ears, physical form can also sort of function. So you have 6 ayatanas, which is the 6 doors, the organs. Then there is contact. The ear of the person, the fetus, the baby, can sort of receive sound. There is contact. The eyes can sort of see light. There's contact like that. Then from there comes sensation, the experience of it, whatever it is, good, bad, cold, warm, whatever. And so then comes the 11th, this is birth, old age and death. You know what? I think you should ask questions. Let's do that. This is kind of getting weird. I feel like I am doing a Zoom teaching. That's what happens. Such a strange thing to do, doing Zoom. I'm just by myself.
Right.
There's a camera, and I'm talking, and there's like faces on the screen. Somebody's eating. It's like very looks like meditating. Sometimes there's not even just nothing on the screen. I don't know what I'm doing. Please ask questions.
I don't want to interrupt while you're teaching, so it seems to me like the 12 Nidanas is the way to explain our existence. Like it explains how we exist. Explains our existence.
Yeah.
So it's just that seems very very simple and normal to tell us, how we exist. My question is this: is dependent origination the same as interconnectedness? Is it the same as it doesn't seem like dependent origination is a bad thing. It seems like it means that we're all connected. That we're connected to the plants, and we're connected to each other, and we're connected to the air and the earth, and we're all connected.
Yeah.
Origination, blah, blah, blah.
That's neither good nor bad.
Ah.
Because you're connected, you could really bring a lot of harm. But also you could bring a lot of benefit. The thing is that here the emphasis is not so much on the connection, rather the fact that it cannot exist by itself. It needs to connect with a lot of things. Because Siddhartha here is trying to awaken us.
Yes.
Just to say, oh, you have ignorance, You accumulate karma, that's why you are born. It's very kind of simplistic for many people. They want to know more details. And this is the detail. Also, what I'm saying is very, very short. We really should read the sutras.
Thank you. I will read the Rice.
Please, thank you.
I make that promise.
Awesome.
So with ignorance, since that's our habit, where in this is easiest to cut through?
So, to cut through, the best way is to remove ignorance, destroy ignorance. Since ignorance is the source, so it is reversible. Ignorance happens all the time. So samsara is being created all the time. When we talk about 12 links, it's not like a beginning, almost like a Genesis type. Like what happened at the beginning? Not at all. This is happening all the time. All the time. And this is called one cycle of 12 links. Hundreds, thousands of cycles of 12 links are intertwined like this and happening all the time. So, now, good karma is also a part of the 12 links. You do good karma, you will go to higher realms. But you're still in the cycle. You do bad karma, you go to lower realms. You're still in the cycle. So then the meditator here has to understand that there is no real good or bad karma, because for there to be a good or bad karma, there has to be someone who is really there doing those things. So when meditator understand that self doesn't truly exist, then the activities of self is also not really believable anymore, like someone in a dream. When you do something in a dream, when someone tells me, hey, I had a dream that you hit me, I can say I'm sorry, right? I can. But I can also laugh about it because that's not real. Exactly the same. When a meditator sees that there is no true self, then, that now in the sutras, then you'll find it there. Buddha says, from ignorance comes formation, from formation comes consciousness, from consciousness name and form, from name and form 6 ayatanas, like that, until here. And then he says, this is the cause and effect of samsara, how samsara happens. Now how nirvana happens is no ignorance, no formation, no consciousness, no, because the cause is cut. Ignorance, when the moment ignorance is cut, the rest also will be cut. So that is then how nirvana happens. What else? Please.
So, you just mentioned good and bad karma. I think it might be my upbringing, but the labeling of good and bad, like in physics, every action has a reaction. So if you kill somebody, something will happen. It's not good or bad, it just is. Like, can you just talk a little more about it? Because I have real issues with bad karma.
Good or bad karma is based upon whether you like the result or not.
Correct.
It's not so much upon it in itself. It's if it brings something that you suffer from, you don't like it. So that's this is actually the definition of good karma and bad karma. That which brings suffering, that which brings happiness or joy, and so on. So every action has a equal and opposite reaction. That's the Newton laws, right? That's predictable again. Karma is weird. Karma is like 10 people can come and immediately I feel close to some one of those, and some of those I don't like. No one has done anything like that. So these unpredictable situations that we go through all the time, so that's the explanation, is that is because of karma. So now good and bad is very, very relative. In the sutra, there's the sutra called entering the womb, Ananda entering the womb. It's interesting. It's also used in the medicine because of the gestation period, isn't it? Yeah. I don't know how many weeks feed babies. Yeah. Yeah. So Buddha will describe all 40 weeks. What is happening on the first and second and third, and it's supposed to be very accurate, even medically. So the sutra is famous for that. But around like second or third month, Buddha says around that time, it's kind of decided whether the person will be considered beautiful or not. And this is interesting. He said, so now, since there is no such thing as beauty, he says, if it is in a world where to be big, to have big belly, is considered beautiful, then the person, the physical form will become small. And yeah, same with the color. It's in a world where having a very, very, let's say, dark skin is considered beautiful, then the person, but the person has karma to be ugly, and we have a very, very light skin, and like that. So yeah, it's interesting, really, like what is good karma and bad karma. And that goes with everything, with beauty, with experience, with taste, with, yeah.
That's the trend.
Yeah. When the communists came, and people were imprisoned, but those whose hands and legs were broken were sent home. They were like, because they cannot work, they're useless. So there was a prison guard, very vicious Tibetan man. Everybody hated him. Every Tibetan hated him. He was the worst because he loved the communist things, all the Communist Party, whatever. And if you meet him, if you're in his prison and if you're assigned to him, he's going to break your hands and legs and your jaw and just ribs. Terrible man. Later they found out everyone who met him survived. He was doing it on purpose. He was breaking people's jaw and ribs, and it was their good karma that their legs were broken. They suffered a lot. So now what is good karma and bad karma? It's like getting, yeah.
When we talk about like hearing in the bardo, or that the person who has passed away, that we are offering incense or offering kind of substances, fragrances that can be eaten, so to speak, by beings who are in the bardo realm. How is it that they experience that without their sense organs, the subtleness of it, and then up to the time of becoming, entering the mother's womb, when you say there's a consciousness there, it's changed and it's directing itself towards the mother, the father, the attraction there, like in the middle. It would just seem to be so extremely subtle. That's I guess what I'm asking, without the sense organs.
It's difficult to talk about bardo because it's obscure phenomena, we don't see it. But it is said that they have the capacity, the mind being free from body, it can experience phenomena directly. As Khyentse Rinpoche writes in his book Living is Dying, that one, where he says the green color will be extremely green now, vibrantly green, with no filter of eyes and light and so on, direct experience. And it's difficult to say how, I don't know. And so, as you said, how does the smell, the bardo being supposed to be, they're called smell eaters. I don't know how it helps, but it seemed to help. When my father passed away, we did that, the sur, where you offer food to the dead person through burning. And most members of my family kept dreaming that he was eating, So I don't know. It seemed to work. About the one you said, when how the consciousness enters the mother womb and all that, that one is very difficult to say. I remember a few days ago when we were talking about Bardo, we were talking about this being who was born as a pig, this man who remembered his past life as a pig. And how did he got into a pig's body is that he was cold and he was running, and there was we went to inside a cabin. There was a lot of warm jackets on the wall, and he wore one of those jackets and fell asleep. That was him entering his mother's womb. That falling asleep is consciousness. That falling asleep. Then he says when he woke up, he was already born. He woke up. So that's birth. And in between, name and form, 6 ayatanas, context, sensation, all happened. So as I was saying, the purpose of the talking about these 12 links, first of all, is to provide an explanation of existence, to have a clearer vision or view of how does karma bring rebirth. There's still so much explanation also coming from Abhidharma, if you're interested. We have hundreds and thousands of karmic seed with us, countless, but then which one gets to give result first? And there's also discussed. These things are not like a rule. Everything must happen like this. These are mere sort of generally this is how it happens. Namdrol Rinpoche, great Tibetan scholar, he says, when a yogi, meditator, sits straight and contemplate that one moment, a momentary action of my life brings a whole sort of a rebirth. And a rebirth, one whole life. And during that life, how many more karmas you accumulate. And so, seeing that ignorance is in the middle of this ever expanding web of existence. Good, bad, doesn't matter. Both the same here in this context now. If something good is happening, bad is waiting after that. That's how it is. Tashinana the lynchings. Arya Deva says, good fortune, when good fortune happens, you have to know it is its shadow is the bad fortune. So person comes together with the shadow like that. So in this regard, good karma, bad karma, all same. When it is done with the motivation of samsaric motivation, it is still within the wheel of life. The wheel of life. Would be good one day if you can learn about it. The gist is this. Actually, what it means is this. Right in the middle of wheel of life, there is a pig chasing a bird and a snake. Pig is the ignorance. Bird is supposed to represent desire. Snake supposed to represent anger. Both the tail of the snake and the tail of the sort of the feather of the bird is in pig's mouth, as if they're coming out of the pig's mouth. From ignorance comes desire. From ignorance comes aggression, like that. And then on the side, there is people being dragged down, and then sort of usually there's depiction of a monk going up. That's basically negative karma dragging down, positive karma going up, like that. But main purpose is not so that people will behave, but we begin to understand the impact that we have on our future, that right now, each moment, the kind of influence that we have. And so, what do? You don't move. You don't move. You don't speak. You just look. Watch. When His Holiness's father, Sakya Tsechen father, he was practicing in this cave in Tibet called Manjushri cave, because many of his ancestors met Manjushri in this cave. So he was practicing there. And one day it said Manjushri appeared in front of him. Immediately he got up and made prostrations and saying, whatever negative karma I've accumulated through body, speech and mind, I confess. And Manjushri stopped him and said, I don't want this. I want real confession. And so he sat his mind in the ultimate truth. And that was the real confession. That is the real breaking of this cycle. You just do not participate anymore. Well, if you don't have questions, thank you. Huh?
I was just thinking, like, that would be the wheel of nirvana, but there's no wheel.
For me, it's still nothing short of a miracle. Like I'm walking through Bardo, traveling for thousands of miles to such far away places, and then you see like a temple full of scriptures. The heart, all the teachings of Buddhas in this house, it's really like a dream. And so happy to be here. And for people who trusted us enough to make sense and to bring some sort of benefit, people like April and Burjela and all the organizers, and also for the center. You don't really know. I could be a really weird guy. But I'm so grateful that you let me sit here and say things as if I know things. And I really, at the end of the day, I really hope that this brings lasting benefit, that Buddha Dharma survives in this world and especially in this land, and that awakening happens within all of us soon, swiftly. And yes, information such as this, traveling dependent origination, however boring it is, it's so important. It must never be forgotten. Never. Why do I suffer? It's because of him, her. No, it's because of this. My anger, I suffer. My greed, I suffer because of that. My jealousy, I suffer because of that. To be truly free is to go beyond this. And this kind of wisdom, knowledge, information must never wane. So please make dedication for the longevity of Buddha Dharma, for the longevity and health of Dharma practitioners, sincere, honest practitioners, those who wish to attain full awakening for the sake of others, those who wish to bring benefit, those who wish to be like a doctor, a nurse, a medicine, a bridge, a ship, a boat, an island, a tree. These beings must live long, be healthy, and their activities must spread in all directions. Sonam di tamji zigbani tomnenya be danam pamji de jagana chi palung chupa sibe solan do wara show do dungan menchi bu dawa tamji jongani tembani kurti chete yuri need lujal gawa nyar gawa shen tongen ne banam sering ne me pusum so taw do dewa dembar show changchup semcho rinpoche machi panam cheba namba me bayan kongni kongdu pel war show. May I in all my lives carry far the weight of Buddha Dharma, and if I am not capable to do so, may I always be worried about the longevity of Dharma.